If you are a leader and you're feeling stressed, just take a moment, because what you might answer a person, maybe it comes in a rush, you just do this. Maybe that person will really take it hard, and it might impact their whole life. And when it impacts their life, it will impact those around you. We have so much responsibilities to ourselves, to the people we speak to, because you have no idea how their day is. Just pause. Sometimes we are pressured from people above or from our family to make quick decisions. Being agile, yes, you have to react, which is really good. But for me, even somebody who is a sprinter, if you see them before they start to sprint, they will be present. If it goes 3, 2, 1, they are there in that moment, because then they know they are going to perform better. So
Helene, I'm very excited to have you on the Core Impact podcast. You wrote a book, Hoping and Coping, and it was deeply personal. What was your intention behind writing it?
my intention was 2 things. First, to share. When you get terrible news, the only thing you get today is to go online and you get all the horror stories when there is a big thing like cancer. And secondly, it was to leave something behind for my son so he could take this onwards. And that's what he's doing today. And thirdly, it was a way for me to process my experience, what I had gone through, because so much in life happens. And if, I was present during that time, but that was then. But then when I moved forward, I wanted to recall everything, which I had not done. I had not written anything down. I had taken some pictures, and that's what I wanted to do, to leave something behind of a story that was very hard, but it's giving hope. That's why I called it Hoping and Coping. It took some time to get that. It was giving hope to others, and it doesn't matter what it is in life, but when you have a hardship, don't give up on hope. And then the way we coped. So I'm sharing, how I coped during that time and what I did. So that was the intention behind.
Maybe you can tell a bit about the book.
That is the book. And 1st of February 2015, I received news. My youngest son, I'm a mother of 4, and my youngest son, Yusuf, he was 9, and he had fallen during his practice of football. And it was a broken leg, and that's all we knew. But, we went to the emergency, he had it in cast. Then 3 weeks later, only having my son in his leg in cast, that was a huge thing. He couldn't go to school. He was staying home, and I had to find ways. How is he going to study? I mean, he was only 9, but at that time, living in Dubai, going to school, doing your homework, being there for the test, that was a huge importance, for me as a mother, to take him to school. So 3 weeks later, he fell again. And he was screaming like crazy. And I was wondering, how can he, again, he's falling and a leg in cast. But then we took him to the hospital, and again, they said his leg has been broken. But at that time, his father and I, we were looking at the x-rays, and we noticed it was a little bit clouded. But what do we know? We are not doctors. So they put the leg in a cast again. We went home, and a few hours later, his father got a call from the hospital, and they said, I think you should bring your son into the hospital again. He was on a flight, and so he called me and he said, can you take him alone? They just want to do, a check. So we came in, and then they said, we need to keep him here for 2 days. So we stayed there for 2 days. The second day, he did a lot of tests. Then it was a Tuesday, I remember it so well. 3 doctors came to me. They took me outside his room, and they said, we believe your son has Ewan sarcoma. And I was like, what? Ewan? Not spelt as Ewan sarcoma, but that was his friend. And sarcoma, I know that's a cancer. And I'm like, what? Yeah, it's a form of cancer, but we don't know yet what it is. So you should maybe go home. And I'm like, go home? This is my home. This is where I had been for 26 years. And he said, well, we noticed that you are from Sweden, so we would recommend that you go there. You need to do a biopsy to know exactly what kind of cancer it is. And I asked the doctor then, do you have children? And he said, yes. I said, where would you take your children? And he said,
Mm.
to Germany, because Germany is very well known for one of the best in the world for hospitals and anything in medicine. So that's what I decided, that we are going to take him to Germany. So a few days later, the whole family was looking, where is the best doctor in Germany? And we flew and we went to Germany.
And how is he doing now?
Oh, he's doing very well. He didn't have Ewing sarcoma. Yusuf, he had something called osteosarcoma, and is more common among young boys, although that are in their teen when they are growing. Why, we don't know, but that's what, research has said. And he lost 18 centimeter of his leg. So he has a prosthetic, but a prosthetic that is inside his leg. So today, it's actually his birthday today. So he's 20
Ah,
today. You could interview him because his story of the journey is different than mine. And so he has my book, he can read, or it's our book. He can read in there, but he experienced it different than me. And that
mm,
is something that is amazing, because sometimes I tell him, but that's not what happened. And he's, yes, that's happened. And that shows me even more that our realities are not the same, even though we are mother and son, but we experienced it differently,
mm.
which is really, really interesting. When I heard him on the podcast, wow, that's how he experienced it at 9 years old. So, yeah, it's been a story, and now the story is being told by him.
Mm. I find it an inspiring story to start with, especially if when we talk about resilience, for example, and your work also. How did it shape you and your personality, and affected maybe also your work decisions later?
So I've always been an explorer, but living in the Middle East, I lived in Dubai for 26 years. I remember that day when we had to go, and I was staying in the house, and I was just like crying with my friends and family around. I'm going to leave all this. What am I going to do? And living in the Middle East, especially in the UAE, is totally different than living in Sweden. And I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't even know I was going to return to Sweden. I left Sweden when I was 16. So it was it was a journey of total disruption to my life. Not only I had to leave with my children, with my son, with my youngest son, and I still had three other children. They were in different parts of the world. I learned during that time that we can not plan life.
Mm,
Here you get it, Helen. Now, what are you going to do? And that was just to take a deep breath, get my feet grounded. And what I realized then, your children are not, don't ever take them for granted. This is what I'm teaching parents today. Don't take your children for granted. I mean, you shouldn't go around and worry about the worst, but take each day and enjoy each day, because that day never comes back again. What we have now is what we have. And also, how I'm living in the present moment is how I shape my future.
mm,
Whatever happened before, I can't change, but I can change how I wake up every morning. And that's what I did. I realized I had got more time with Yusuf. And how am I going to take care of that? Even though he was sick and all these things, but I didn't know. I had no idea. So I really had to just embrace every day and make the best of it, even during the worst moment. And that's what I did in my book. How did we spend those days? Yusuf couldn't walk. He was sitting in a bed all the time with his legs straight out. Then after when he got the operation, he was in a wheelchair. There were so many different things. Not that we left our country only, we came to a new country in Germany where everything was new. And when we were in Germany and we knew it was going to take much longer, maybe a year, maybe two, whatever it's going to take, that's when I decided that I need to go to Sweden. I am able to speak the language, which is very important when you're going to deal with, difficult things. You have to understand it's not just normal language, it's also medical terms. I thought, okay, this is the best to come here. And now we are still here. Although the world is open, my children are in 4 different countries. I visit them and I make the best of everything.
While you are listening to the Core Impact podcast, please take a moment to pause and share with me. How do you feel? Are you enjoying the conversation, feeling inspired, or something else? I would love to know your feelings in the comments. We talked about being present in the moment and enjoy every day. When I hear from many professionals, when people talk about it like at work, many see it as something that doesn't relate to professional settings. What do you say when people talk like this? How do you respond?
Yeah, so I have been in corporate for 15 years. So I know that rush, just, you just plan forward 5 years, 10 years, go, go, go. And I was in an industry that is very competitive, full of action, and I didn't pause. I did not pause. I didn't know what is my core values. I didn't
Mm,
know that. Today I know that. And that pause, although my mother's auntie always told me, before you do something, count to 10. Because just to, calm your nervous system and to calm your mind. She was a very wise woman. She said, before you answer something that is important, don't rush. And if you're angry with someone, count to 10 before you reply.
mm,
That's always been there in my mind, but I didn't use it. And that pause, and that's what I'm doing today in The Power of No without guilt, just pause. Because people who are high achiever, they want to take quick decisions. And now in the area we are living now it's even quicker. But your nervous system, if you are just running in your head, your nervous system, which is in your body, is not with you there. So that pause that you're saying, just to breathe, just for a few seconds, just, land. Doesn't have to be that you journal or, that is good too. But in that moment, before you're going to speak or answer, because what comes out of your mouth, you can't really take that back. And especially if you are a leader and you have people around and you're feeling stressed, just take a moment, because what you might answer a person, maybe you don't mean it, and maybe it comes in a rush, just do this, okay? Maybe that person will really take it hard, and it might impact their whole life. And when it impact their life, it will impact those around you. So as a leader, we have so much responsibilities to ourselves, to the people we speak to, because they are also, you have no idea what anyone goes around with and how their day is. Just pause. That pause is so important, not just in your life, because even at business, you are your business. You are your life. So it doesn't matter whether you're working at a company or in a school or a hospital and I know it's easier said than done, because sometimes we are pressured from people above or whatever, from our family, to make quick decisions. We have been told that being agile, yes, you have to react, which is really good. But for me, even, somebody who is a sprinter or whatever, if you see them before they start to sprint, they will be present. Just before that, if it goes 3, 2, 1, they are there in that moment, because then they know they are going to perform better. So does that give you an
Mm,
answer?
mm. The last one you said, it's very important. They're gonna perform better. So it's not the other way around, because I see it now personally in the last days. The more I meditate, it's not always like I meditate this amount, I do that much, but in general, the more I meditate, the more I perform, and I don't feel overwhelmed. Like I can work much more hours than usual, and I more effective also. There is a paradox. I work more, sometimes even more hours, but with more productivity while I'm meditating more. Like, because meditation should take time from the day, but it doesn't. That's something magical. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe you can.
What is meditation? Meditation can be in so many forms, so many forms. Some people call it prayer, some people call it just stillness, but it's to still your mind, still your mind, because imagine we have more than 70,000 thought, feelings, and emotions that go through here every day. And they might be ours or they might be others, because everything that comes in, and today we have the phones, we have everything, all this goes into your mind. So it becomes kind of a chaos in there. That's
Mm,
why just closing your eyes for a few moments could still you. And placing your hand on your heart and your solar plexus, just to know, to feel that you are in your body. Because what's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning? Hit the alarm, out of bed and into the bathroom, shower, brush your teeth, and so you haven't landed. Land. Good morning. Good morning to yourself. Good morning. So I can land in my body. So I'm not just outside. It's so important. And like you said, you can work more hours. Planning is good, but sometimes in a day, we don't know. We could get things that, like I got with Yusuf, I didn't plan that.
mm,
What do I do with that? Because when we can be there when really hard things are coming up, that's when we can act better, not react, because it's very easy to react. It was very easy for me during that time to react. When I before walked into boardrooms, I was like, okay, now let's go, Helen, let's perform more, let's do more. What I always remember is when Yusuf was going to have his big surgery to remove the tumor, take away his leg, I had to say goodbye to him. I didn't
mm,
know if he would wake up after. I did it very calm. I didn't want to go in and then imagine the worst thing. No, I didn't do that, but I accepted. I accepted that it could be the last time I say goodbye to him, the last time I hear his voice. And I get a little bit tearing because I still see that. During that time, I had beautiful nurses with me inside, and he was happy. And we used to, and have it in the book, um, we used to do kind of a meditation for children, and grown-ups can do it too, called the trouble tree. Every night before he fell asleep, because children, they experience so much every day. And that's what I told you about the mind chatter. So we used to go, and you can make it your own way. In my book, I have it there, the trouble tree. And, we visualize, he visualized, I know how it is. And he could take his troubles off to the tree and then walk away. And he used to be asleep. So we did that before he was there. And then I left him. I looked at him. Still behind my closed eyes, I see that little boy. I left, and the nurses, they took me to the door and they said, just go and do something, take care of yourself. But I was calm, and they were looking at me because I was calm. Was I sad? Yes, I was sad, but
mm,
I was still, because I had come to terms with what could happen, although I still, because the doctor had assured me he's going to be fine and this and whatever, and I trusted it. I had hope. I had hope. And then during that time that it took him to have the operation, which was hours, I went to a park, and hence this picture here. This picture is not Yusuf there, but I saw this. The last thing he said, I said, "What are you going to dream about, baby?" He said, "I'm going to dream about me and my German Shepherd walking." Like magic, when I sat in that park, I looked out on that field. And this was like 3 hours after. What did I see in walking? It was not a dream, it was reality. I saw a young man walking with his German.
Mm.
I was like, I'm in Yusuf's dream. He's going to walk. And just like half an hour after that photo was taken, because I took it, I'm like, I have to take this to see that it's real, that it's not just me imagining this. Could have been. And half an hour later, the doctor called me and he said the operation has been successful. And of course, it took hours after for Yusuf to wake up, and they had to drain everything and whatever. But it was like, yes, can we imagine things that happens? Yes, always dream. I always tell people, oh, you shouldn't dream. No, dream, because those moments can actually become your reality.
Mm. You reminded me of Dr. Joe Dispenza, among others. And now it's like, I'm not going to mention only one person because it's like my understanding from different sources, but mainly now from Dr. Joe Dispenza, that we like how important is to dream and to also to have a vision, because this rewires our brains. So when we don't have a vision of the future, we are left with our memories from the past. So if you want to change our life in any aspect, then we have to see what do we want in the future, and if we visualize it, the thing that you're talking about, or see it, then it is much easier for us to remember our future, and that makes it much smoother for us to see possibilities to get there. Otherwise, we will always stay with our past and stay with our habits, with our thoughts, with what happened, especially things that we don't want. So probably you know about Henry. I saw you nodding. Maybe you
Yes,
like
I
to.
know about him very well. I'm going to one of his events next year.
Oh,
100%. I mean, I'm also a student of Joe Dispenza, so to slow down. I mean, a lot of people don't know where he came from. I mean, how he healed himself. He's a chiropractor, and it's actually from my chiropractic friend that I know him, because she actually knows him. And it's amazing what our mind can imagine. And like you said, if I sit every day and think, oh my God, this is so bad and this and whatever, yeah, it's going to become bad, because, the circumstances are like that. The more you go down, and it's easy for us. For me, my number one strength, as per Gallup Strength Finder, is positivity. So it comes easy. It's not that I go around and I'm happy all the time, but even when there is something difficult and hard, I always look for possibilities. Because I'm the one who chooses for my life. It is me. It is me. I choose how I want to respond to things, or how I want to experience things. Do I believe in my destiny? 100%. But less, I could sit on a sofa and for the rest of my life, things are going to turn out a certain ways. Or I can do something because I actually like to create a difference in the world that will impact positive on people. So that's what I choose every day. And before, why did I do the power of no without guilt? Because I am a perfectionist. However, I'm a recovering perfectionist. I
Mm.
love to do, and women have more tendency to this. We want
Ah,
to make everything perfect all the time. More, 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 more. But sometimes it's okay, Helen, it's enough now.
mm,
Put 90 minutes and then let's go. Because being perfect, I mean, we can't be perfect. We can be enough. But as women, we tend to do this, which is okay, but we need to, not need to, but what if we chose that it's enough now? That is okay. Let it go. Um, and also, I'm a giver. I love to please other people. But again, do I include myself? No, I didn't do. Now I do. Because I
mm,
can say, no, that doesn't work for me. I have to include myself. Me and my body has to be included. Otherwise, whose life am I living?
mm. Do you have any story that you can tell from this last, let's say, 6 months about boundaries, about leadership, something that changed your perspective? Because I see when people are evolving and changing that so many things happen frequently. So I'm curious, like, what is the last thing that can come to your mind in the last few months?
So I launched my program, and I didn't know. I worked with a coach last year. I didn't know what it was going to be. First, it was about the chaos and this and whatever because of how I have lived through it. But as it evolved, because it's not just a course, it's a program, and it's a living story of my life. I still love to do things for everyone. So saying no is something that some people are like, no, yes, yeah, it's okay. No, it doesn't work for me. I had an incident not long ago because, again, this little pleaser of Helen, she comes forward often. But do I really want to do that? Is it really going to serve me?
Mm,
Now I will stop. And that's why that pause is very good. Not that I have to be rude to people and say, no, 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 because yes is great. Yes is great. But I want to include myself. That goes for companies too. Do you want to just have people who just say yes all the time? Because what happens when we say yes all the time is we burn out.
mm,
We can't do everything. If I
mm,
have 4 different kids, of course I love all of them and I want to do everything, but it's not possible. I cannot be together with them all at the same time because they live in different countries. So I have to choose. And it's not always easy, but I also have to choose to include myself because a lot, both men and women, but a lot of women that are mothers, if we have a career,
mm,
and then we have friends, we have kids, we have husband, whatever we have. Where do I come in? On which number? You should be number 1. Because when you look after yourself, you will look after the people around you much better. However, a lot of women that I have interviewed before I did, we have been told when we were young, no, you're a good girl. You can do this. You can do that. No, you should be kind to your brother, your sister, your friends, this, whatever. Yes, it's true. We should, we should choose, but we also have to include ourselves. Another person, I mean, you were talking about Joe Dispenza. I also have studied with Gabor Mate. Do you know Gabor Mate?
yeah.
And he has a book about no, and that's about the body. The first word we learn when we are young is no. But then with age, because if you see a child, they maybe are being fed no, no.
Mm,
They learn at the age no. But that's the time when we are tested. Are we allowed to say no? Are people happy when we say no? And maybe not. So it could be things that we carry with us from an early age that we are not aware of. So awareness is very, very important. being aware of your own thoughts, your feelings, you know, it's very important. Where do you feel? You don't feel in your head, you feel in your body. So include your body. The body will react quicker than your mind. You can feel it. When we talk about gut feelings in the stomach or wherever, listen to that. That's why, again, the pause, you know, mm, what's my body trying to tell me?
Hmm. Helene, now I even have more questions. There is something that came to mind, and I've been thinking about lately about the word no, but a different application to it. In personal life, it could happen also in so many situations. When there is, for example, job interview, and there are maybe hundred of people who applied to the position, and even the candidate maybe applied to so many other uh, places and has so many other interviews. If they are in the interview, they both know that they have other choices. At the same time, sometimes after 5 to 10 minutes, it's clear from both sides that it's not gonna work. Different values, not matching, etc. They plan the meeting for 1 hour, 1.5 hour. So they stay together. They keep asking each other questions. Both are not interested. But it's just like they both are afraid to say no, although it's already clear. I mean, I just give this example to make it simpler, but it could happen also in meetings, even in personal life, even in dating, for example, and so many other things. Why do you think is this?
Because the vibration, the energy is felt. I mean, we might not be aware of it, but animals, for instance, they know. They don't speak. I mean, they yap or whatever, but they know. They know if somebody is scared. They know if somebody's sad. They know if somebody's angry. So they react the same way. So that's why when we listen in and feel our energy, feel it, But then again, you have to listen in. And that's why we were talking about meditation before.
Mm,
The more you quiet, the more you get to know yourself. I mean, I get goosebumps because it's really, when I get good, it's true. It's true for me. I can't tell what is true for you, but I know what is true for me. So it's important to try to turn into that intuition of your body. So when you go into an interview or whatever, if it doesn't feel good, okay, but we can be aware a little bit because sometimes it could be a little bit off from the beginning, and maybe it was just something that wasn't right, but just listen to that. Okay, what is this? So I ask you are asking me question now, but I ask myself questions all the time, but
mm,
not knowing the answer.
mm,
The answer might come later. Okay, what is this? What is making me feel this way, and then wait, uh, and then maybe, can I change it? How do I change it? Because we might not know in that moment, but the answer will come later. So even in job interviews, and I know that you said values,
mm,
that is so important. Like, I knew kind of my values when I was younger, but I had not defined them. To my younger self today, I would say, Helen, what are your values? Know them. Know your values. Because if you walk in to a company and they say, okay, these are our values, if those values will not match, you will never be happy there. Never, because certain things, for me, honesty is one of my core values, trust, and curiosity. Today, I work with these things. However, if I'm going to have Honesty, again, I can't tell what another person's, if they are honest or not. I can only trust that they are honest. But
Mm,
I have to voice my core values, because if I don't voice them, how is that person going to know what is
mm,
Helen's core values? And that goes with everything. Sometimes people don't want to hurt someone, so they call it white lies. Don't do that to Helen. I'll have to deal with the hard thing. I'm going to be honest with you, Helen, but it might sting a little bit. Okay, yes, be honest with me. To my children, I say, I trust you to trust yourself, because I can't be with them all the time, but I have to trust them to trust themselves. And I know that I have tried to raise them as good human beings, good from my side. That might not be what they choose later on, because I also have to trust them to be their own person. Even when they are small, you have to allow that little child who is a human being. If they say they don't like something, don't force them,
mm,
because they are not you. If I say, oh, I love coffee, I mean, and I love coffee with oat milk. Well, you might not like coffee with oat milk. Is there something, should I say, oh, is something wrong with you? No. We just have different tastes and different values. So, it is important to know your values, and also in that meeting, trust what is if it's in your heart center or in your belly, or, learn to know what is right. And we can do that. To learn to know what is your truth, ask a few questions. Is my name Helen? Is my name Helen? And just listen, see how your body is, and it will answer. If I say, okay, is my name Alexandra? The body will feel it, because that's not my name. Um, do I have brown eyes? No, I don't have brown. I could have brown contacts, but I don't, as me, as Helen. No, she has blue eyes. So, when you start to ask questions that is true for you, and it could be other things too, your body will react in a different way than if it's not true. So
mm,
these are things that everyone can do. We
mm.
can learn to know what is my innate truth and trust that.
The- Now talking about values,
Mhm.
your core values, the three are, first of all, honesty, then trust, and the third one is
Truth.
curiosity.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Not trust, because trust and honesty is truth.
Truth. Okay,
Ah,
truth. And then the last one is curiosity. So I'm curious about curiosity because I noticed that also you love asking to ask questions. This is also something that I value. How do you find the balance between staying curious while not um, overwhelming maybe others with questions or being a bit too much confrontational at times?
so that was three different there. First of all, being curious. When I was young, I used to ask a lot of questions. Why? And I know I could have been a little bit annoying for some people, but it was my way of learning. Today, I know a little bit different. And as a coach, I have one mouth and two ears.
Mm,
So when I ask question, I don't ask a question that I have an answer to.
mm,
Only the person. I have to listen.
mm,
And like you are listening and you're picking up words, and then you just, present them to me. That is a way, because again, when we are being heard, when we are being seen, one thing that is very, very important, especially when I work with people, that I don't bring in my own reality, my
mm,
own
mm,
self.
mm,
Because if I'm going to judge that person cannot share.
mm,
Because judgment is like, okay, you read one book and I read another book, and then we start to have this confrontation instead.
mm,
I was, I had, I was more opinionated when I was younger. Even now, to my own thought and feelings and emotions, they are just an interesting point of view. I don't have to be stuck with one thing that I thought 1 week ago. I can change
mm,
it today.
mm,
So, we have like this, like curtain that you can pull up. I always push it down, push it down, push it down,
mm,
push it
mm,
down, push it
mm,
down, down, so I can be here. When I speak, now I pushed it down, then I become more vulnerable. Not vulnerable that I have to sit and cry, but yes, I can feel those things too. Um, but the judgment, when we stop judging myself and you, do I have opinions? Yes, I have very strong opinions. I have very strong opinions, but they're mine. I
mm,
can't push them over to someone else. Sometimes it comes up that I want to defend my opinions, defend my reality. But again, all our world looks totally different. Even if we read the same book, you will have seen it, one way, and I would have seen it another way. And that's the same thing in this book. I mean, I was there with Yusuf and he was there with me, but he lived it in a different way. So to today, when he is talking about, when he's being on a podcast, it's not the same as me.
mm,
And that's fascinating.
mm, mm. Because we have different, first of all, we have different perspectives, but also we have different perceptions,
Mm.
which is something that I learned. Like, we could both sit here next to each other and say something, and then we go outside. Someone asks us what happened. I tell a story. You might tell a different story because lots of our experiences and so many things that happens in our mind affects how we see reality.
And this is the thing, when we work at a large corporation, yes, that's why, because the corporation has then, and even in a society, there's certain rules you have to follow to be able to live everyone together. Everyone cannot have all the different, I mean, then it would be a big chaos if everyone came in. However, when I live my life, I live it as per me, but when I go somewhere, I have to kind of respect that. And that's why, like you said, when you go to a job interview, the person who is sitting there, maybe they're just the interviewer, so we don't need to blame them or judge them. They are just there to carry out a job. So they are carrying out the job as per the values and the structure of that company. So that's why it's important. Okay, what are my values? So I can come in. Can I compromise on this? Yes, maybe I can. But this I cannot compromise on, like honesty, for instance. I didn't know that honesty was so important to me.
Mm,
And I worked in a corporation where, kind of politics, you have to go a little bit. And it was really hard for me. Whatever, maybe some people call it diplomatic, but sometimes it didn't go as per my core values. And that's why I felt very uncomfortable. And I have to accept that this is me. I mean, am I living my life? And this is what a lot of people do. We are not living our life
mm,
because we have to, satisfy that person. We have to satisfy this person, this person, this person, this and this. But where am I? So it's important that we are living our life. I usually ask people that, whose life are you living? Because again, me, Helen, I'm a mother of 4. My kids, they're all different. 2 boys, 2 girls. Different, they look different, they sound different, they have different experience, they have different uh, hobbies, they have different, they are different. So if I would raise them that they should all be the same, Accordingly to who? To me? And it is like that. Even when we go to school, we have to be a certain way. Yeah. And we have to follow. We have to accept that. Okay, maybe we have to have a direction, like, where we know, but choose it wisely. Choose it wisely because your life is short.
Mm,
Choose how you want to live it, with who you want to live it, and, surround yourself with people that, make you feel good, that make you want to do things, that you like, not things
mm,
that you don't like.
mm. Helen, now from the power of no, what are the biggest three either misconceptions or blind spots about boundaries?
First, values, because if you don't know your values, how do you know you're going to put your boundaries?
Mm,
Putting boundaries is not a fence. No, it's not a fence that you build up, but include yourself and see, okay, how would you advise your best friend if she or he was asked something to do something? How would you advise that person? Because if you're saying, okay, I'll do that, I'll do this, I'll do that, and everything, I mean, how are you going to have time? We have 24 hours every day. If you don't know your priorities, even at a work, I do believe a good organization or a company should let the employee, because if they're employing someone, they should trust them that they are going to be there to do the best job to their best capacity. Not that if I'm the boss, I should go, oh, you have to do it as me. No, trust that person. You have employed that person to do a job. So if that person is saying, okay, I cannot do this right now because I have other things. But then if the boss says, no, you have to do this now. Okay. So what is more important for you? That I meet this deadline that, we have to meet by 31st of December, or this? Ask them. I am not able to do two. We are human beings. We are not robots. So
mm,
we should be able to say that. And I do believe that's why it's very important to hire someone that is willing and that is happy to do the job. What you write on a CV, how do you know that that's going to be the person? And that's why you said, when you meet that person first, see, are we going to vibe together? Is that a person that I feel I could trust to do the job, is willing to do the job, not to do, and willing to make the right decision for them? Because if we're all working together for one goal, if we are all agreeing to that, yes, but then let every individual, more or less, to do it in the way that they do. Because I do something called extended DISC. So we are all different. Do you know about DISC? It's an
no.
assessment. So we all are wired differently. Some people are direct. So you have DISC. So some people are direct. We need those in our organizations. The people who take, they can seem a little bit arrogant, but they're not arrogant. They're just taking, I'm not that. Don't ask me to do these things because that's uncomfortable for me. It's not something I can go in and do it, but it's not anything that I do by my own self because it's not me. I is people who are inspirational. They like to talk. They like to do, that's me. Then you have S, and D and I, they are extrovert. Then you have S. These are people that work in a system and that has are good in planning. And, a lot of people in human resources would be there. But if you're on that side, then you're introvert. I have a little bit of, we are not one only.
Mm,
They are also good to have in an organization. Then you have C, people who are analytical. You give them some data, or they will want more data. They will go and look for more data. For me, that is very important to know this. So there are different assessments. the extended disc, or there's many different. I do the extended disc, but then you have the Gallup Strength Finder too, which is 34 different talents. And of those, we are all different. When we know this, and also for me, when I work with other people, so I let them do this assessment because it's much easier for me knowing who they are, how I can change my words and this, because we are different. And we have to accept that in a workforce too, that we are all different. We can study the same thing. If I'm a lawyer, I study the books. That's the knowledge and that's the skills we learn. But our innate ways that we are, those don't really change. So if we want to have people be energetic, it's better they work in their strength. So from Gallup Strength Finder, which is 34, so mine are positivity, empathy, winning others over, strategic, and communication.
Mm,
I didn't know them before. Now I know them, and this is what I do. And I will be more energetic when I work with that.
mm,
If we're going to go in, I can do, because that's why when I was working in corporate, they sent me to finance for non-finance manager because I needed to know finance. Yes, but I didn't work in the finance department, but I needed to know it. It takes more energy of me, but I can do it. So knowledge is different than your behavior, your human personal behavior.
yeah.
And again, take that pause. Because what's it going to cost you if you just have no boundaries? What is that going to cost you? It could be burnout, that you make the wrong decisions, that you end up somewhere or with someone that is not going to be the best for you. So it is important to have your boundaries, know them in different things, your personal boundaries, at work, your boundaries with your friends, with everywhere. And that pause, is this going to be better for me in 5 years? When you make big decisions, then really stop and ask, if I choose this today, how will that be in 5 years? Ask for 5 years, because maybe right now, it feels very good. And then again, you need to know what is right for your body. But if you ask for 5 years, if I choose this today, how will my life be in 5 years? And that doesn't take that long, It's not that you are slow, but you can ask, can you give me a minute? A minute. Okay. And then you can ask yourself, you don't need to ask them out, Is this a benefit for me? Is it going to be good for me in 5 years? Then if it feels great, it feels light, because anything that is light for you is your truth. If you feel like, oh my God, heavy, that is not your truth. So I can't tell you what it is, for boundaries, but engage with your body, not just your mind. Yeah, today, maybe this is the best, but how is it going to be in 5 years? Because what we choose today is going to affect in the future.
Mm. How do you help your clients having this connection between mind, body, and soul, as you usually mention?
So we do different exercises just to know, be aware of, and you asked that before, pausing or meditation, or some people, they don't feel. So I used to be a fitness trainer too, and I used to do something called body balance. So body balance is a mixture of Tai Chi, yoga, and Pilates, and then the last 10 minutes is meditation.
Mm.
Some people could not stay there. I mean, it was just
Oh,
too much for them,
mm,
because your mind start to race.
mm,
So to quiet your mind, because even at night when you sleep, your mind is not sleeping. That's why meditation, we can do that. And that's what I also work with my clients. So you feel, there are different ways. I know I'm a little bit weird and wacky and this and whatever, but there are ways that we can quiet this mind chatter. And like you said with Joe Dispenza too, yes, that's ways to do it. Because when we quiet our mind, life feels so much better. Because I can fill my mind with all sorts of things, so many things. But is it going to benefit me? Maybe I'm losing out on this time right now if I'm having all those different thoughts in my head and, that is coming through social media and this and whatever, is it going to benefit me? I don't think so. At least not me. And also having too much knowledge. I love to learn and I learn
Mhm,
all the time, but sometimes I have to pause and say, okay, Helen, do I really need to do this right now?
mhm,
I mean, if you sit and watch the news, most people will believe that that's the reality.
mhm,
But is it their reality or is it the reality of, whoever is, broadcasting this news? So we have to be mindful with our thoughts because they affect our life. So there are so many different ways, so many different exercises, just asking yourself the questions. And one way to do, most of the time it could be, "Oh, what's wrong with you?" Okay. If somebody's telling, because they are projecting something to me, and then I can ask myself, what's right with this that I'm not getting? Or even if I have a thought, what's right with this that I'm not getting? And then wait, the answer will come. And that's when you can change. You can say, okay, then something comes up. Because when we ask a question, most of the time, and most of us have already a preconceived answer. And what happens if that doesn't come through?
that's the expectations, right?
Yeah, if it doesn't come through, what happens then?
Then you get upset, then you have emotions that, yeah, raise up like
You
Greek
get
sulfur.
disappointed,
Yeah.
You get disappointed if I was studying and I wanted to get, A star and I don't get A star, I only get, B. You can ask, what will it take for me
Mm,
to achieve A star? But not having that, oh, I'm gonna have to get that A star. I'm a little bit like that because, the perfectionist of
mm,
Helen. If
mm.
I don't get that, I get disappointed. I just finished because I still keep my fitness up, and I wanted to have 100%, and I got 97. Wow, that's really good, Helen. But I was like, no, oh my God, I didn't get
Mm.
100%. No, it's okay. 97% is really good.
And that really could be applied anywhere. Also being aware of the perfectionist inside of me. Yesterday, for example, there was a specific kind of training and it's like it's with measurements, etc. But without going in details, I haven't done this for a while. So when I was doing it, I was mindful. I don't want to compare myself to others. I don't want to have like the 100%, as you say, like, or like the top score. I just want to be there. And I have like this minimum where I feel my body is not overwhelmed. So I know that I can do it again. I don't want to be injured and then just stay here because I have to achieve everything at once. There's a question I'm going to ask you from a previous guest, Leanne Lagas. And the question is, what parts of your role that bring you the most energy and make you feel the most alive? And what are the parts that drain your energy or feel suffocating?
Hmm. Oh, there's so many things that I love. I love, um, I was in Italy last week, and by profession, I'm an interior designer. And we visited several, a lighting manufacturer, fabric manufacturer, and a carpet. And when I see colors and textures, again, I can feel it and I can see it. That brings me so much joy. I love it. I love because it's a feeling. I mean, of course, it's just an item. It's just an item, but it's the feeling that it's bringing me.
Mm,
And I also go to something that is called art therapy
mm,
because then I have to let go of this perfectionist. A colleague of mine, we did yoga teacher training together. And the way she sets up the room, so there's a woman's circle, it's a, which is very, very strong. And there's so much that you can heal yourself from not speaking.
mm,
And yoga, it's not just movement, but it's also, she will take us through a meditation, then she will speak a little bit, and whatever comes up behind our closed eyes, then we just put it on paper. And that is so much joy
mm,
because when I grow and when I grow with more empathy and feeling healed myself, then that way I can help the people I coach. And that's also, I love when I ask a question. I have a young couple that I'm coaching. They're starting their new business. And it's not me answering, but when I ask question and then they just come up with, wow, I feel like, wow.
mm,
Last week when I was sitting in a call with them and one of the people there was explaining what they took with them from the previous session. And when they were talking about it, and I just, I almost got teary. Not that I was sad, but I felt it. It, the words they were using was not, they were beautiful, but I felt what they felt, and makes me feel so great when I can help someone else to feel that joy. And it's not about an item, it's the joy from inside because it has this domino effect. When I help someone and they are helping others, so they are building their business and they are helping others, when I hear their vision, their mission, it's like,
mm,
how did I get so lucky to work with these people? And they're like, what? I'm so grateful because when I get to do what I love and help other people to do what they love, that's more a business coaching, although I bring in exercises that I also use in the power of no. And what I don't like so much, people can be negative, and that's fine. Get it out, you know, go and shout or this, or, like my son, he's also doing boxing. Get it out, but
mm,
don't stay there for so long. Because if you just go on and on and on and on, oh, that's draining. That is so draining for me. It's
mm,
so draining. And that's when I have also learned because I am that people pleaser. Okay, I have heard enough now. Could we change this, or can I have time out and go away? Because I really feel drained.
mm,
And then I can't be that best version of myself. And nobody is better of being negative for all the time. I understand that people can get hurt and they are not heard. But let's do something about it then. Let's do something. That's why I have this when you're feeling it's wrong or something. Okay, what's right with this? Because then the mind goes and look for something good. Like when I came back this time from Italy. So Italy is only 2.5 hours from Milan to Stockholm. However, I had a connecting flight. So I flew Milano to Paris. The Milano-Paris flight was delayed. Therefore, I missed my flight from Paris to Stockholm. Oh my God, I was like, oh, no, I'm going to miss it. We had to stay over in Paris and this and whatever. But there was no point of just, okay, it happened.
mm,
And it was something that was right with that too. Okay, eventually I came home, but I can't sit and go on and on about it. It happened and it happened for a reason. Yeah.
Mm.
So, sometimes I can only change how I respond or how I act to that. I could have gone on, oh my God, I missed the flight and now I'm coming home 22 hours later. But no. So I learned from it. Within Europe, fly direct. Don't take book a flight that is with stopovers. No, 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 no. Wherever I can, go direct. So that's what I learned from that.
Mm. You said there is a reason for everything. One of the reasons maybe that you laugh at it now after what happened and tell the story like this here.
Yeah.
What is the question that you like to ask a future guest?
I would like them to know their core values. Their three core values,
Mm.
not from anyone else, but their own. Do they know their core values? Great, share them. If they don't know their core values, find out what they are.
Mm.
And they are not, you would not, you can look at a list, okay, and you can get them down to 10, then to 5, then out of those 5, which is the one that is no compromise. And that's okay.
Mm. Okay, we'll do this. There is now questions about the future. The first one is, how do you see AI influencing leadership, productivity, and work-life integration in the next decade? And here I found different studies. Like, let's say the more optimistic one of them showed that AI will affect at least 40% of jobs by then.
So I'm of an age that I didn't even have a mobile phone when I was growing up. Yeah, we didn't even have computers. They were huge computers. So my age group are different, and I do hear a lot that are totally against AI. Totally. And they are afraid. But what are they afraid of? We will not be able to outsource our creativity mind.
Mm.
Human body and mind is not going to be outsourced to AI. Learn how to use AI. But that means that we have to start at a younger age with the children to know what is a feeling. How do they feel? So they're not going to outsource it, and they will trust AI to tell them, okay, this is how happy feels. This is how sad feels. This is, you need to start from early age. And a lot of people don't know that. How do I know I'm happy? And then the body knows that. AI will not be able to tell you that. AI can, however, help you a lot. And
Mm.
I have made Helen AI.
Mm.
So I can't speak with people 24/7. I joined a program through Coachbox. And there, it's not just, a random thing I have made on ChatGPT or whatever. No, I have programmed Helen AI. And she's really good, especially for my program, because I can't speak to everyone. But if somebody wants to reach me and speak to me, because again, I before you make a call with me, I do pre-questions, because maybe you're not sure if it's from 1 to 10 and you are 5. Okay, then we are not going to be able to work together. But it's okay. You can speak with Helen AI and you can get to know her a little bit more.
Mm.
Maybe there are questions that you feel shy to ask because they don't know me. Although I am very open, and like I said, I don't judge people.
Mm.
I'm a little bit playful, a little bit
Mm.
weird. So I'm not for everyone. But again, if somebody wants to ask, then they can speak to Helen AI. Plus she hasn't been released to the world yet. She is ready. She's ready. She's going to go out there. So again, during the calls, in between the calls, my clients will get access to her 24/7. So then you can ask. Because, I'm fine tuning it now, asking people, because if somebody asks a question like, okay, do you like horror movies? Okay, but that's not anything we are here to talk about. But I actually don't like horror movies. So I need to tell
Me neither.
Helen, I don't like horror movies. I don't. I
Yeah.
mean, my kids know. See, no, I don't like it. I jump. So, if you know me and I'm watching a movie, I will go, "Oh," and they are like, oh, mom, can you stop it? But that's me. So I don't like that kind of movies. But again, maybe somebody is interested to know that. So they can ask. But it's not, it's asking questions, and I'm not the only one. There's many people, consultant and coaches, that have now invested in this AI and made an AI of themselves so they can speak. I think that's a really good way to move forward, because we can't stop it, but it's to use it so it doesn't use you.
Mm,
We have to learn to use AI on our terms. That means you do need to know, because if I use ChatGPT at times, it answers a different way. If I would not know the answer to that, or no, that's not the true. Oh, sorry, I answered. But if I don't know things, maybe I will be fooled. But
mm,
again, it's just a different way. Before we didn't have Google, then we went to libraries and we looked in books. But again, those books were made by someone or written by someone. So that's also an opinion of of a person. But now AI is collecting different people and putting it together. So sometimes you can get something much quicker, in there. Like, I have actually not, I should start to ask about this one. But I have put some of these things in Helen AI, because maybe there are questions there that comes, not just from there, but because there's different information I have there than, for my program, The Power of No, but it's still coming from me. I have put in information about me, how I'm thinking, because then Helen AI, she will be able to answer the person who is asking that question. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about AI.
mm. Helen, there's another question about the future. And because of this disruption, let's say someone is listening or watching us and they're either afraid about the future, they know, or let's say they expect that their jobs will be replaced in the next few years, or they are already seeking something new. They want to change something in their career. So anyone who's seeking changing because any of these reasons, what is the three top tips, let's say, that you give them?
Have the clarity of what your strengths are. Not what you studied in school, what you were good at, and this and whatever. Really know what your strengths are. Because the strength is not the knowledge that you know. Strength are other, like mine is positivity, and then empathy. So do some assessment to know yourself a little bit better, because
Mm,
a lot of the time we only know ourselves through others. What they said in school, oh, they said, you are good at this, you're good at that, you're good at this, you're good, and you're bad at that. Maybe you're not bad at that. Learn what you are good at yourself, not what your mother and father and sister and brother and teachers, university told you. No. Find out what you really, really are good at and what you enjoy doing, what you can do for hours and hours and hours. Because to be a good artist, painting a picture, some people will say, okay, if you like in architecture, if you're going to draw a building, most of the time they are structured. Not all, because there are some very famous buildings that are not linear. So again, but learn that. Learn what you are really great at. Not just as knowledge, because knowledge can also, you can gain more. Of course, if you're going to be a surgeon, you need to know, you must have studied the body, so you know how to, because you're going to actually operate on another person. And in finance, for instance, if you enjoy numbers, yeah, work with that. But that is going to be easier now because a lot of people are going to be able to use AI. I can go in and ask AI to put up a whole thing about, but maybe it's still not what I need to know, because when you really know what you can do for hours and hours, start to look into that. I do something called a clarity map. So they will do their values, their strength, and also, a little bit about their skills. And then we put it together to see in what capacity would you do best.
Mm.
I mean, now I actually do what I'm best at, working with people. And again, we can all have studied, there's so many people who have studied with ICF where I'm certified. But we are all different. Before I used to see, oh, we are competitors. No, we are all different. Every human being, we are different. And that's why we have to allow, even in companies, they can be two people doing mobile phones. One is iPhone, Apple, and another one is Samsung, something, whatever. They are two phones, and they are going to make us be able to call with others. We can do different things. But again, they have different values in those two different companies. So the people who are working there, working for Apple is probably different than working for Samsung. They have the same mobile phone, the device, but they are different. They have different, you know, mm, capacities and this. And that's the same with us as human beings too. So that was one thing you said about the future,
Mm.
if they are going to. And don't forget to include yourself
Mm.
in everything you do. You are your business. When you wake up in the morning, be present, be in your body. Just take a few minutes to ground yourself and, okay, I'm here now. I'm here. Feel yourself, yes, I'm here in my body. So you don't just rush, and then your life is just on this hamster wheel and you don't know where, all the time went. Sometimes people are like that. I mean, like today, my son is 20 years old. Time has gone so fast. And I know that. I'm a mother of 4, I'm a grandmother of 2, and this is what I want to leave behind, that I was present with them. So they will know, okay, mom was there. But even if I'm not living with them every day, but we are connected. When you get that call from someone, oh my God, I was just thinking about you. Yeah. Think about someone, because there will be some synergy. That's the energy that, we are together. We are connected, even if they are on the other side of the world. And if you feel like that, oh my God, I'm thinking about that person, send them a message, a voice note, or this, I love you, or I'm thinking about you. Yeah, I was thinking about you too, because that's usually what we do. We are so much more connected than we believe.
Mm. So number one, your strength, or your strength, do assessment, enjoy what you're doing. Number 2, include yourself. And number
And know
3,
your values
okay.
and enjoy life.
Mm.
Enjoy, be playful, laugh,
Yeah, that's
you
something.
know,
Yeah.
and go out in the nature. I mean, nature is so amazing. Wherever, if it's forest, mountain, water, sand, desert, but the nature is so healing.
Hmm. About being
And
playful. Oh, sorry.
yes, and be playful.
Mm.
Yes, be playful. Don't forget that child. I'm so lucky I have granddaughters because I can play with them. I rather play with them than study with them.
Mm. Mm.
And include them in your cooking, in your cleaning, in your whatever it is. Let them be part of your daily chores. Sometimes people Like, oh my God, I have to cook, I have to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
But I enjoy it,
Mm,
because if I give my love when I'm cooking and, somebody will enjoy eating it, don't rush that. I believe that today we have so many things that makes it easier for us. So much. I mean, we have so much, but we still don't have time. In the past, they didn't have that, but they still manage. But now we have no time. Where is that? It's the same 24 hours now as they did 60 years ago. But they had more time because they chose that. They chose to sit down and have dinner with their family, to speak. How was your day today? No, and so what did you learn today? How did you feel when you learned that? Ask, your family, because that time will never come back. And it makes such a difference when they are growing up.
mm. I wanted to say something about being playful. Yesterday, my friend, she shared a short video from Sadhguru. And he was saying that, like, don't be too serious and don't do always serious stuff, because if you always just see what is the most important thing and do only important things, then your life will be too serious and it'll be dead serious. And after I saw this, I said, okay, I was about to eat something like quick, something kind of half ready, and just because I have something important to do the day. And I said, no, I'm gonna cook. And I cooked very well. And I was like enjoying my day. And then I did everything after this.
What
Okay.
did you cook?
Oh, it was green peas with
Mm,
rice
mm.
and different flavors with some nuts
Mm.
and mincemeat.
Oh, I thought it was Bazella first.
It is,
No.
it is, it is
Yeah?
in my way, like adjusted a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, by the
Mm.
way, this is something that I learned to do recently, not to take recipes as they are and keep them like in a rigid way. There are many things from the Syrian kitchen, for example, I mix them with the Indonesian kitchen and other things
Yeah,
like
why
this. Yeah.
not? Why not?
Yeah.
That's also being playful and being
Mm,
curious.
mm,
Maybe it will not taste good, but it's okay. Another time, you will make something different.
yeah.
Yeah, so being playful but again, for some people, that is not serious, but that's okay. Again, now I have reached an age that I don't need to be so serious. I
Mm,
really don't.
mm,
I really don't. And my son, sometimes because, he has this crazy mother, uh, I was we went for adjustment at our chiropractor. And they were playing some nice music there. And then the assistant came out and I said, would you like to dance with me? And he was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. She's so embarrassing. I didn't mean to make, I just felt like it. So
mm,
sometimes, oh my God, I went up and he's like, oh my God, you are
mm,
so embarrassed
mm,
because, I felt it and I spoke it,
mm,
So but
mm,
I can be, it's not about being serious. It's about being, if I need things done, even in my coaching, sometimes I tell my clients, I, I want you to be committed because if you're committed and you want to achieve something, then it's the consistency. Sometimes when we are doing, it's like if we want to get stronger in our body, we can't just go one time to the gym.
mm,
We need to do it consistent. And we need to do it. But if that's something that you're not enjoying, then do another movement that you enjoy because the body loves to move. So it's very important, whether it's in your body strength or in your mind. You will not know it right away, but after some time when you have done it, it becomes a habit and then it
mm,
becomes easier. So that's why when I do my programs, if it's a business program, it's 3 months. So then in between those sessions, it's very important that you, the person I'm working with, are doing those exercises, because that's when things are happening, not me. I can't change you. I can never change. If somebody comes and think, okay, I'm going to change. No, you have to. And that's why I say, you have to be committed. 8, 9, or 10, then I will be able to help you to reach your target. But in between, it's the same with me. When I work with my coach, she's not doing my program. I have to do it and take the steps to do it. She was there to facilitate my transformation to reach where I wanted, even if it showed up in a different way than I thought in the beginning. But that's also, to follow and be in that allowance. Maybe things will not be the same as you had thought they would be. So,
Mm,
you don't get disappointed.
mm. Helen, I enjoyed the conversation with you. We talked about diverse topics, but all around the same core. It's mainly about values, about knowing yourself, the connection between mind, body, and soul. Also, how different people are, how to deal with different personalities, about the future of work. Also, we talked in the end. So now I don't have any more questions to ask you, but curious to know if you have any final thoughts or call to action for anyone who's listening to us.
Call to action. Just be you and be the best version of yourself.
Mm.
That's all.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ellen. I really enjoyed the
Thank
conversation
you.
with you, and we will stay in touch.
We will do. Thank you
Okay.
so much, and have
Thank you.
a lovely day, Omar.
Thank you, Ellen.
And go and enjoy.
Congratulations for listening until the end. You are in the top 25% of listeners. Studies show that we forget up to 70% of what we hear within 24 hours. But when we repeat an insight by sharing it with someone, commenting, or journaling it, it moves into long-term memory. So now tell me, what are your 1 to 3 takeaways you're keeping from this conversation? Enjoy every moment. Until next time.